Rahubat, greetings and welcome to OSM Vision, Ask Us Anything, where we answer all your questions. Remember, if you have a question, you can comment below on this video and we will answer them for you. Wu-Sabat is the fastest movement for world peace, and we do that by answering questions and giving the truth. So let's have a look at the questions that we have today. Greetings. Could you make a topic about giants? Were they real? Did they exist in ancient Egypt? Where do they come from? Yes. The thing about when people think about giants, I think the references that they probably are aware with is like the David and Goliath story in the Bible. Some people are familiar with, Genesis, where it's talking about the Nephilims, the giants that came down here, that fell down here. But the thing is that it's been exaggerated so much. And now with AI and so on, people are taking that story and kind of like exaggerating it. So the giants that, when we're saying giants that people are really relating to, are they're only like 6, 7, maybe up to like 9 feet tall, if that. And most of them, the descendants or children of those giants, are all in the basketball teams today. So when you look at a lot of basketball players, they're very tall. That's what you would refer to really as giants, or the children of those original giants. Because on the planet, the original beings like that were here from what we call the Pataites, who some may know as Nubians, who became, what people refer to as Nubians, but all of that ties back to Nuwapian. But those beings were like 4'5" for the females and 5'4" for the males. And it's when these Nephilims came down and, mixed with them, even though they weren't willing, it was on an unwillful mixing, and they basically produced children, because at that time, they weren't allowed to come down here. So the way the elders knew is because when they started to have children, and these children were obviously a lot taller than the predominant people on the planet at the time. So yes, we will do a video on the giants, but don't think, they're like really, really, really tall the way they make it out to be. So yeah, we'll definitely look into that story. Where did they come from? Did they exist? All right. Is there any way you can do a quick video explaining the origins of the ankh? Absolutely, the ankh, which is different to this. Actually, there you go. That's the ankh. It has so many meanings and symbology and relating to life, from ancient Egypt or Tamaray. And this is what got grafted into the Tau, the T-A-U, and also into what you're calling the cross today. One was signifying, birth, signifying life, and one obviously was signifying the cross fiction, or people say the crucifixion of the character they call Jesus in the Bible. So yeah, we actually have a scroll I will find for you that we'll use to break down and go through the metamorphosis of the ankh into the different kind of crosses that you have today. But the ankh actually originates in ancient Egypt. And this is referred to as the ankh tui, because if you look closely, you can see that there are two, because unlike Christianity, we don't leave out the sacred feminine or the female. Both sides, we deal with everything in balance. 360 physical information, 360 spiritual information. We deal with the left and right hemisphere of the brain, the male and the female. So the ankh tui represents both coming together as one. It relates to the hereafter, because a lot of people are under a spell, and even when they wake up, they're under another spell. And so the year 2000 marked the end of the 6,000 year moon cycle, and that was started from 1970 to the year 2000, referred to as the first half hour, and then the second half hour from the year 2000 to 2030, which is giving you the double resurrection. Yeah, so people are now waking up again, even though they thought they were awake when they went into, say, a religion, and thinking, okay, I'm now on the right path. But that was another spell, because the spell has many levels. Leviathan, the beast, six ether, and on and on and on. So the ankh Tui represents a double resurrection, and once you wake up this time, you know, you should never be put back under the spell again, if you apply Wu-Sabat, because in religion you're taught that the only way you're going to receive salvation is to die and go to a place, an unconfirmed place called heaven, where you're then going to get some kind of rewards. And when you look at the rewards that they're saying you're going to get, you know, like beautiful gardens, whether it's the Quran, the Bible, they all say the same thing: milk and honey, maidens, and all the things that you can get right here on earth. So it's actually technology to have you being idle, or idol worshipping, meaning you're ideally not worshipping anything of any substance or significance, and your only promise is to wait till you die before you're going to receive these rewards, where we say you can get all those things right here on earth. The real things that they don't tell you about is what happens to your soul, and where is your soul going to go, what's the difference between your spirit and your soul. And so Wu-Sabat is here now to give you the double resurrection, but it goes into much, much more than that. All right, let's keep going. I've been listening to your master for years. I just recently found your channel. So much light is burning exposed. Thank you so much, very much an eye-opener. I'm in the USA, and I do remember your master teacher in Brooklyn, New York, so many years ago. I'm from Brooklyn. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're actually still in Brookwick, in Brooklyn, Bushwick, that's tongue twister, Bushwick in Brooklyn, yeah, so we're still there. Go to 717 Bushwick Avenue, and you can find the information on our website as well. That's the United Sabians Worldwide.com. UnitedSabiansWorldwide.com. Hello, sir. Where is your other half? We'd like to see him back with you. Yeah, he shows up now and again because he travels a lot, and he's actually quite busy at the moment. So whenever he gets back into the country, you know, we get him on. Sometimes he's only here for a few days and then he's gone again. So yeah, we like to see him back on the show as well. I'm Stephen Gamondu from Liberia, West Africa. I have always had the feeling of something awful about religions. All religions are man's concepts and have nothing to do with realities. There are mixed stories to make us think they are saying the truth. They also used it as a tool to control us. I have learned and still learning by the day from this channel. Thank you, and continue to liberate us. Thank you, and you can help too. You know, as simple as this may sound, you subscribing, sharing, liking, all of that actually helps us to reach more people, because you know, algorithms are behind these platforms. So the more you subscribe, share, like, that really help us. So you can do something too. Share it to 9 people and ask those 9 people to share it to 9 people, and then, let's get it worldwide. Let's get millions of views. That's what we want to aim for, right? Okay, let's keep going. I'm fully convinced people whom try to disprove anything about Wu-Sabat and other high-level information and practices are doing it with intent to destroy anyone new whom is very thirsty for spiritual information. You're so right. You're so right. But the thing is, no one can destroy Wu-Sabat because truth is truth, and truth will always prevail. And we know many people do that. They come in to create chaos, cause dissension, divisions, and because their stuff, like, they think you're attacking their stuff when you're telling the truth. But if their stuff, i.e. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all the religions, if they were on a solid foundation, you couldn't do that, you know. So they're only going to burn out themselves when they try that. It's like their hands are too short to box with God, you know. So they can try, but I think also people who are easily influenced, you really need to say to yourself, all the years you've been here, you've been listening to different people, what has he done for you? And that you should have enough conviction in yourself, right? Look into yourself and think, am I easily persuaded and influenced, and make decisions based on what you think by way of doing the research and checking things out for yourself. That's why we say ask us anything, because we're transparent, you know, we're very open, and we give you information that you can go and research and check it out for yourself. Because when you confirm something for yourself, you're no longer believing because it's a fact to you. But when you just follow someone blindly and don't really go and check things out, then you're just in a state of belief. So don't believe anything we say. That's what our master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, Partner Babyanun, that's what he did when he came on the scene, to show you that he's authentic, he's real. And not only that, he published books which anyone can get hold of and scrutinize and research. So your journey in terms of your soul is your responsibility. If you want to hand it over to people that don't know where they're going and be like the blind leading the blind, that's entirely up to you. But there are consequences. That's the one thing that no one can take away from you. You have to willingly give that away by who you go and, you know, subscribe under without knowing or not having them scrutinize or questioning them to see if they know what they're talking about. That's why they tell you you're not allowed to ask questions in church and in certain religious organizations, because you will expose the leaders, you will expose the people that are just there acting and pretending, and they don't really study in depth and don't know the languages of the scriptures that they're supposed to be reading. How can you teach somebody something you don't know yourself, you know? So yeah, thanks for making that point. But they can't stop Wu-Sabat. Wu-Sabat is the future, regardless. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than all of us, so they can't really stop Wu-Sabat. Remember, Wu-Sabat has been here since the 60s. You know, we're not someone that just popped up from nowhere. If we were, you would know, because how are we able to go in depth on every subject and every question that people ask us? How is that possible? How is it possible for one man to be able to address everyone, every sort of background, every race, every, you know what I mean, endeavor in terms of studies, extraterrestrials, the planet, history, everything, you know? So yeah, you're already on the right path. Just stay on it and keep developing. Thank you for all of what you all stand for and do. Is Job a natural ET or being, since some of the stories of the Bible happened in some capacity? Yeah, he's again, this is where the misconceptions come in, because when people say ETs, because of the media, because of the spell, because of how extraterrestrials were made in movies and so on, referred to as aliens, it tries to separate you from them, because an extraterrestrial is just something extra that comes into the terrain. And this planet was called Terra at one point. It has many names: Tiamat, Terra, Eret, Ard. You know, there's so many names. The planet, the main place where these extraterrestrials first came to was known as Ganawa, which is what became Africa. So you are an ET, because even in their religious books, they tell you that God is in heaven and God created us, or men, or man, and he blew into man. And that's what keeps you alive, that breath of life. So that essence is not from here. If it's from God, who is not here and is in space or in heaven or on another planet, because in the Bible, they just say he's up there. In Arabic, they will say Samawati, or, you know, up there, you know, so Shamayim, you know, up there. They just tell you he's up there, but they don't go into details. In Wu-Sabat, we tell you who these beings are, who these gods are. And so Job and the people on the planet are actually children of the various extraterrestrials that came here and seeded this planet. So, you know, there are different species and different types of extraterrestrials from different star systems. And so that's why it gets confusing when you have, like you say, Job, who was a child of extraterrestrials, just like you are a child. It's just that right now you will only really relate to your mother and father. But if you kept going backwards, your mother and father came from somewhere and their parents came from somewhere, and it goes all the way back to these extraterrestrials that basically formed the three root races on the planet. And then those three root races being, as they say scientifically, initially called Negroid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid, i.e. African, Asian, and Caucasian, other beings came and mixed with those root races to produce many offsprings. And different species of extraterrestrials came to different parts of the planet and also produced offspring. So everyone on the planet actually has a tie back to extraterrestrials, even if it's the very first ones of the Negroid, and then those obviously produced the other two root races, and then the other extraterrestrials came to the planet. Because you always have to take that which is already here to mix with to produce new hybrids, etc. Right? So, yeah, the word ET really describes everyone, and some beings are not able to connect back to their parents, their extraterrestrial parents, or able to leave here because Earth is like a prison, for lack of a better word, which is quarantined, you know, for certain beings not to be able to leave here. And if you imagine a globe, right, with spheres, and there are gates and portals that open at different places at specific times, and you have to have the knowledge of those portals or those gates to be able to leave. And so, you know, many make attempts to try and get out of here, and they're not able to because they are quarantined here. They're not allowed, and some can. They need to know how to open these stargates, these portals, and so forth. All right. Some are opened by accident, and beings come through. But you have to have the knowledge and technology of how to do this, and that's Wu-Sabat will teach you that. Rahubat Zamal, it is wonderful what you are doing. Oh, thank you so much. That's from Quadro Aponsim 9100. Yeah, Rahubat Zamal, we need all the help we can get. Everyone can help by spreading Wu-Sabat and teaching as well. Teach what you know. Even if you've only read one book, or you've come to one class, or you know you've attended one of our sessions, share what you know. Freedom Master Teacher, Ashok, absolutely. We definitely want to keep pushing that vibration, that frequency, that, do you know what I mean, meditation, everything to do with freeing the Master Teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, partner Babyanun. I'm now one of you. Wu-Sabat is my future. Absolutely, that's from Paul Shivasa 4494. Glad to hear that. We need every help we can get, you know, because it's about the energy on the planet. Sometimes we do try and simplify things. So if you think about the planet, everyone has energy, and that energy can be negative or positive, or it can be balanced. And if there's too much chaos or too much negativity on the planet, it affects the entire planet and the beings on the planet. So we're saying let's at least balance it out with the polarity of making things more positive. Positive is about harmony, it's about truth, it's about unification, whereas negativity deals with selfishness, being greedy, me, myself, and I, creating chaos, wars, you know, all the problems are on the planet. And we are at a stage as a species, as in terms of the entire planet, where we need to evolve to a point where we can solve these problems like famine, like homelessness, like wars and health problems. There are many things that we can do once we get our mentality right and we start to act and behave in the way that shows care and compassion and empathy for the problems. And, you know, you have some people who are billionaires, they have so much money and they don't really utilize it to help humanity. Instead, they exploit humanity and they want to be, you know, more and more like they're never content or satisfied with what they have. And it's all about let's spread that wealth and make sure that everyone can be taken care of. All right, let's keep going. Rahubat Moisa, divine love to all of you. I'm speaking with my mother about Wu-Sabat and she told me to ask a question for her. In the Congo, our parents say that all the diamonds and other resources are the blood or remains of our ancestors that became one again with nature. Is this true? Yes, because remember, the planet is actually a living entity. It's alive, and everything that it has, as in terms of its resources, that's including, you know, the water, the trees, and what people have made, you know, diamonds and precious stone into, which they've made them, you know, into something that people are now using as a measure of value, to the point where, you know, people will kill and do all kinds of things for it. And even the oil, like if you think about the planet as a living entity, the oil will be like, let's say it's blood, you know, like the nature. And when you're damaging and cutting the trees, when you're poisoning the waters, when you're just constantly just like reaping and raping its resources, it's gonna get sick. And this is what's happened to the point where it's now like trying to heal itself. I think one of the stories that conveys that message really well is Michael Jackson's, what's that song called? I can't remember it. What about us? I have to remember, try and find it. But that, no, is it? Yeah, they don't really care about us. Yeah, yeah. If you listen to that song and watch the video, it's very, very touching because he's talking about what you're asking about. But yeah, you know, even like cobalt and what's going on in the Congo with people like just because of, you know, you saw the movie Blood Diamonds, and the resources are supposed to be used evenly to make sure that everyone on the planet is, you know what I mean, happy. And I can hear someone's trying to disrupt. Earth Song, that's the one. Thank you. Yeah, I like my my mods there on the ball. Anyway, so yeah, we have to now get back in tune with nature as Mother Earth. You hear even the term Mother Earth. That's our parent, and those beings that are causing it problems are going to be eradicated. It's like, if you think about it, it's like if you had, let's say you had some insects, like tiny little insects on your skin, and they were like irritating you, and you kept scratching and scratching, but it kind of was growing. It's going to get to a point where you have to take care of it and remove that. And it's what's happening when you say manifestation, because man is infesting the planet by these 6 ether mindsets that do things that don't make sense, and it causes problems for the earth, even to the point where the earth vibrates and it's actually on a nutational rate, and the imbalance causes, you know, kind of the earthquakes, the tornadoes, and all the things that are going on. So what you find is that in order to balance it out, certain buildings and structures were put in certain places by our ancestors on the ley lines and so on, to stop it wobbling and vibrating in a way that could basically cause earthlings problems. But you have other people that don't know what they're doing and they want to destroy the planet, and like you say, poison the fish and everything in the waters, poison the water, and then sell you bottled water just for profit. And then you have, you know, the air is being polluted. You know, you can go on the rainforests are being depleted. You know, the animals are being constantly killed for food and slaughtered. You know, we can go on and on and on and on. They give you air fresheners, but the pollution in the air. So it's like when you're not thinking and acting properly as a divine being, then you're going to basically cause problems. So we have to come together as a people, because it's only a few, it's the so-called elites, that the Satanists and the people that are just about greed and just want to control everything and have all the riches and all the monies for themselves. I mean, why would you as a person have acres and acres of land just for golf, but yet there are people that are homeless and don't have anywhere to live, and they could utilize that land to build, you know what I mean, houses and house people? We can do that and keep going. Like, why would you have a mansion with hundreds and hundreds of rooms that you don't even know exist, but yet there are people that are homeless? You know, we can go on and look at what these, you know, few people that are holding the planet ransom are doing, and it's not making sense. So we, the people, have to come together, use our nine mind, and get rid of these types of evil forces. Did you know that there are companies that will allow you to pay money to have your loved one's remains ground into a diamond or a similar stone? Oh yeah, these are people responding as comments to that original one. Where these companies come? Yeah, I mean, people are like organ harvesting, and you know, that type of thing has been going on for many years. Because again, with nature, something you can't really avoid is eventually having to leave here. So people will try to keep themselves alive as much as possible. You know, people need transplants, they need hearts, they need lungs, they need livers, they need, you know, blood transfusions and many things. So organ harvesting, and also paying for organs, even melanin now people are paying for, because they've realized the importance of it. Also, I would believe that it's true because of the pressure of women to have a diamond as they enter into a marriage. It's almost as if they are carrying the energy, sins and traumas of their ancestors into their new families. Yeah, there is a series called Adam Ruins Everything. If you've never seen that, again, we're not sponsored by any of these people, but that what you said about the ring is very important, because they did a series on the whole wedding ring thing, and you know what happens with diamonds and so on. So if you haven't seen that, watch it. Adam Ruins Everything. May you discuss the planetary alignment and the disbursement of cosmic energy? Yes, this is part of what we're saying, that things are changing, not just within yourself, not just within the people around you, not just on the planet, but we're talking about different planets as well. The whole, like, you know, solar system's changing, the galaxy's changing. This is how mammoth this new cycle we're referring to as the sun cycle and the Aquarian age, the golden age is. There have been others in the past. It's just that maybe we went around during those cycles, but people that were around in, you know, the times where these changes took place, our ancestors who have evolved, you know, we have an actual fact called Nuapians ontology, ontologist or ontology, that you can read, because these cycles have been happening for thousands of years. And there are times where changes take place, people become extinct, or certain species become extinct due to these cycles and changes. You read my comment in this video. Looking forward to hearing about it all from him, as there feels to be an activation of sorts, maybe with memories I am remembering. Yeah, R-E, that's very important, because re ties into ray, we say ray, and it's that ignition of the sun within you, which is referred to as Re or Ra in ancient Egypt, or Roy in the Bible. But this Ra is to remember, to reread. When you say read, you say re-add, R-E-A-D, remember, as you say. So that ray goes back to the fact that the sun is absolutely crucial for life to exist on the planet. You have an inner sun within yourself, referred to as the solar plexus, which keeps you alive by way of the burning, where you're taking in oxygen and burning it and giving off carbon dioxide, which is the burning that keeps you alive. Then you have the inner sun within the subterranean world, known as Shambhala and Agartha, and that sun also keeps the beings in the inner world, you know, sustains them. And then we have the outer sun, which, you know, 93 billion years ago was created, and it's 91 to 93 million miles away, depending on the distance of the planet to it. And those three suns have to align. This is where the concept of, well, not a concept, our tones of FAC, they align because you know, your tone, you have a tone of vibration. When we say tone, we're talking about everything has a vibration, and that vibration is on a particular frequency. And those on the same vibration are going to be in tune or in unison. But because they're three tones, simultaneously you have the A tone, which is of your body, and you have the F tone, which deals with nature and the planet, and then you have the C tone, which deals with outside the planet, going into the cosmos. Now, once you're vibrating on all those three, then you're in harmony. See, so unison is when everybody's on the same frequency, as in we're all on the A, even though you do have different octaves of A. And then you have different octaves of F, and you have different octaves of C. But together, they're in harmony, where you have chords like the F major chord, which is what FAC really is, together gives you that harmony. Yeah, so yeah, that's what we're trying to do, harmonize everything by way of your body, the planet, and outside the cosmos. All right, cool. So yeah, it's a Wu-Sabat is a remembering tool because it's in your DNA. You know, it's been in your DNA from the very beginning. You just have to trigger your DNA, and this is what happens when you come into Wu-Sabat and it resonates with you. You have a chemical reaction or biological reaction known as a DNA explosion, because when you start to study DNA and start to study like your brain and you know, like how things work in your systems, like how neurons are transmitted and sent with, you know, between synapses in your mind and your brain, it creates different types of reactions. The same with your biological reactions, you know, how your blood and the plasmatic your lungs and how they all work together, your heartbeat pumping the blood, the electrical network sending messages around from, you know, to the brain, the nervous system, you know, your skeletal system, your skin, which is the biggest organ, and how anything that it comes into contact with, how it all happens to have a reaction on, you know, on yourself, on your being. So yes, Wu-Sabat's here to do that, activate your DNA and get you back in tune. If I'm told the truth after believing in question mark all my life, I will be fascinated. Past week been feeling Dr. York will be freed sooner than later. Oh man, I can see that heart and that smile that you've put there, Jita Roshan. Absolutely, I've been feeling the same. And it's gonna be much sooner than people think. And the reality is that, yeah, it's gonna be probably the least way or time or how you expect. So, but if you are in tune, you can feel, you know, and a lot of people are saying the same thing and feeling the same way. So that's fantastic to know. Quicker Flipper 686. What is best explanation for having dreams and then them coming to pass? The best explanation is really that you can travel, yeah? you can travel to what people may refer to as the future or the past. And when we say that, it's important to realize that time is not linear. Like, it doesn't just start here and end here and it's going, like this, which is what the spell has people thinking. And then they give you a clock, and then because they know it's actually in a cycle. So they do this, tick tock, and you think it's moving, but it's actually not moving in that way, because past, present, and future are all existing simultaneously at the same time, but you have different cycles. So a simple way to relate to your question is that you have a cycle that you've made many times, and imagine you can jump back to a point where you'd already passed, or jump to the future where you're going and then come back. So with a cycle, it's like a record. You can spin it one way or spin it in the other direction. But if it's playing, it's continuously spinning that way. Even though every moment is spinning, it's also playing what's been recorded on the grooves of that record. So we are able to, as multidimensional beings, be in the physical, but yet your mind is in the mental realm. And when you go to sleep, what people call dreaming is actually leaving your physical body, laying there on the bed or wherever you're asleep, and your other bodies, your spiritual, your soul, etc., they can travel to the different realms, experience different things, and then come back into the present or the now, and then later on you catch up with that moment that you've already been to. People can call it deja vu when they go backwards, or even when they go forward, and they're like, this has happened before, I already saw this. And so yes, that's the best way of explaining it. It's literally saying you're time traveling, because space, matter, and time are a union. They work together in unison. They're inseparable. So you can go back and come back, or go forward and come back. So that's literally it, time traveling. And then you see what you already saw, because your eyes are actually also solar panels. And you have different eyes. You've got these physical eyes and you've got a spiritual eye. And they all see and record everything. They're literally solar panels. And so are your other, organs, etc. Like, you can record everything within your matrix that makes you up. And in Wu-Sabat, we teach you have something called the me stones that are recording everything in digital form and can be replayed. And this is where you get the concept of, in religion, of two angels recording your good and bad deeds, as in Islam, all right? But these are actual extraterrestrials, or your parents, or etheric beings that have been assigned to record everything. And you are like you're like a node on the network, and you're downloading information all the time to your me disc, all right? You can read more about the me disc in the scroll called Akasha Records by the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Zio, Parna Babyanun, and so you can learn more about that. Okay, greetings, brother. My question is, I get a lot of twitching feelings in my body, like in my arm and leg, and this has been going on for some years now. I don't know what this could be. Right, that is a lot of the times, because it's something I've addressed before. A lot of the times it's to do with you as a being, in terms of you might be lacking certain minerals, lacking sleep, you're deficient in certain vitamins. So first of all, like, address those things. Like, are you resting? Is your diet okay? Are you sleeping? Are you relaxing? Are you meditating? Are you doing things to make sure that, the flow around your body? Remember, the flow around your body is also like the blood flow, but it's also the energy flow. And you may have energy that needs to be released, because you have joints and you have certain areas of your body that can have blockages, and you really need to be able to, everything needs to be flowing in the way it's supposed to be. And that can also have an effect based on what your diet is like. All right, so look into those. Like, you may need to get, some kind of blood analysis done, but start seeing if you're drinking enough water, if you're resting enough, if you're deficient in certain minerals and vitamins, sea moss and certain herbs that you can get are very good of help at helping you to do that. Okay, my last question is, how does one figure out their cosmic name? Okay, so Wu-Sabat is, you've got to take things in stages. When you first come across Wu-Sabat, the first thing you do is ask us anything. You just ask questions and ask questions until you get to a point where you have to be able to be like, okay, I've scrutinized these guys and the master teacher, and I've read enough books, I've researched them, I've checked it out, and now I'm happy, I'm comfortable. And then you take the steps of coming closer, getting involved, because things like receiving your cosmic name and certain things, spiritual practices and spiritual rituals that you need to partake in, you won't do that from the outside. You have to really come inside. And so the first thing is to work your way in by becoming familiar, or becoming part of the family. The word familiar is really where the word family comes from, because it's about who you're familiar with, and not really people that just because you're related to them by blood and you don't know them, they don't know you, you're not familiar with each other. So becoming a family, then you start to get more information that is pertaining to you personally. All right. So yes, that's the best way. Come closer, come inside. Wow, this is a long one. So let me see. Mark Day on Cooper 3504. Since I was a child, I have always known I was different. There's no one in my family that looks or thinks like me. For some reason this year, my whole life equals 9. I have seen things that people think I'm crazy when I speak of it. Not long ago, I seen the stars line up May 20 or 30 and disappear at maybe 20 or 30 and disappear as if they went through a portal. I don't know what it was. I say, but sure, I say it. My girlfriend and grandmother also say, but I have seen lots of things which kind of make me think I've been put here for some reason. I am the only person in the world with my name, Macdeon Tavar Cooper, born February 9, 1986. Does this have any meaning? Yeah, of course. Like you say, you're now maybe tapping into more of things that like religions don't address. Things that people say you're crazy because, if you're going against the grain or you're not part of the status quo, then people look at you as being crazy. But then when you start to really look at what the people calling you crazy are doing, a lot of the times it's even more crazy. But you got to learn about yourself. This is what Wu-Sabat is here for. And as you said, that whole 9 thing, we deal with 9 ether, 9 mind, 9 reasoning, 9 to the 9 power of 9, which is the highest number. So if you're aligning with that 9, then you're aligning with Wu-Sabat, which is operating on the 9. So, you got to start to learn, study, and learn about yourself. Really learn about not just your physical body, but the real you. And you can do that through Wu-Sabat. And then you'll be amongst people who have had similar experiences where you're not deemed to be crazy. Many things that we do now, we take for granted, many years ago would have been considered to be crazy. If you told somebody many years ago that there's a little device you can hold in your hand that will tell you anything you want to know, and you could watch movies, do your banking, talk to people all over the world, do your shopping, they would say, no way. Because technology, with the advancement of technology, things that people used to think were impossible or miracles, or, like, this is how these extraterrestrials were able to pass themselves off as gods to beings that were less developed, because they were maimed and they lost the use of their full capacity of their brain. So a being that comes from the future, like, for example, if you go to the most remote village anywhere in the world that has not come across the internet, doesn't know anything about smartphones, and you take your mobile phone out and show them a movie, they'll be amazed. Like, how are people inside this little device? So what I'm basically saying is that, things that were once, made to be impossible or crazy are now taken for granted. Even the fact that you can use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Do you know how amazing it is that you can just connect to devices without wires? But that's technology, and these extraterrestrials, our ancestors, they're so advanced that don't feel. Come into Wu-Sabat. We welcome everyone from all walks of life, from all races. The prerequisite is that you're about truth and about peace and love and unity, and wanting to know more about yourself and the world around you, and you'll be very comfortable in Wu-Sabat. Okay, let's keep going. Y complex 100. When you stargaze at night, there are those stars that seem to be moving, then suddenly disappear. Are those advanced extraterrestrial spacecrafts moving, then changing their frequencies as they suddenly disappear, while observed by us from down here? I know that everything in the night sky is expressed in a star object when observed from down here with our naked eyes, but not everything is a star. It can be planets, stars, suns from other solar systems, galaxies, and even advanced ET spaceships. Looking forward to hear your feedback. You just answered your own question. Absolutely, not everything is a star, but you also have to remember that there are orbits and many movements going on at the same time. So sometimes something could be there and then another object moves and obscures it. So it's just because of the movement, but you do have crafts as well that will cloak themselves and allow themselves to come in and out of dimensions. So with the naked eye, you may see them for a brief moment. But yeah, you literally answered your own question. As you said, you know that not everything is a star, and it can be planets, suns from other solar systems, galaxies, and even advanced ET spaceships. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. Yes, and this is why some people get telescopes and they literally study the stars. This is where, what you're calling astrology and astronomy all came from. So you can get really good telescopes and study the planetary bodies. And so you, like, for example, if you look at and you understand the different constellations, like right now you can look and see the Orion star constellation, but because it's moving, you will see at different places. I think it takes 72 days or so for it to rotate. So yeah, it's a combination of all the things you have said. Yeah. You have a huge library of Dr. D. York's book. My question is, do you have any for sale? I have bought several books by Dr. York, but they're bootleg copies and overpriced. So how can I get an original copy of the Holy Tablets and other Dr. York? Yeah, I mean, this is something where once I got into Wu-Sabat and I got all my questions that I ever had answered, and I started to read the books, I realized how valuable, this information was. And it always said that what profits a man to gain the whole world and to lose their soul. And also, like, the riches and the material world is not that important when you look at, I think, like Solomon, they used to say he was the wisest man, and that's all because knowledge is the most powerful thing. They tell you knowledge is power. So for me, investing in the books, excuse me, was something that I probably invested in more than anything else. And, you know, and today actually pays off because I actually read them. And when a Dr. Malachi Z. York book comes out, sometimes people just let it pass them, they neglect it. But I know from experience that there comes a time, and it happens all the time, where that book, you're not going to be able to get it. So when you see them available, you just got to, you know what I mean, just copy your copy. And yes, unfortunately, many people have exploited the fact that he's been wrongfully kidnapped and incarcerated, and they actually infringing his IP, you know, intellectual property and copyright laws. And the people are just, some people are just looking at it as an opportunity to exploit and make money from people. And trust me, all those people that are doing that, tabs are being kept on you, and the time will come where legal action will be taken. So we don't encourage people to support our, adversary who are basically taking money and, like you say, charging, overpricing, and making it impossible for people to get hold of. And the quality as well, they are making the quality so bad that it reflects badly on us, because someone may not know that this is going on. So I'm not selling mine because it's like my library, a collection, and many people also have libraries. Some people may have double copies of things that they're selling, and they're genuine, and they want to excuse me, and they want to sell it. So you might be able to get, but really support the official website, UnitedSabiansWorldwide.com, and all the bookstores are listed there, the official ones. And you can Google, search, Amazon, etc. But, you know, you have to be really mindful of those that are, like you say, exploiting you. As for the holy tablets, it has been said that he may, or possibly will update it. And so you may just have to be patient and hold tight. People do have the holy tablets for sale, their own personal copies. So yeah, if you can get hold of one. But if you're in tune with a bookstore near you, let them know, keep in contact, and they will let you know once it becomes available, if it does. Talk about the firmament. I mean, that's a very broad thing, talk about the firmament. Like I said, when you're looking at the planet, and from the biblical point of view, when you're talking about the firmament, you're really talking about, there's so many different aspects to it. But initially you're talking about when Enki was terraforming this planet and clearing the dust cloud, which was obscuring the sun rays from coming to the planet because of the accident that had taken place prior. There were many accidents. We've spoken about the crash of Nibiru into Meldic, and then consequently into Tiamat, which was the name of this planet at the time. And then there have been meteorites that have also hit the planet. And on one such occasion, the sun rays were not coming through, so that life on the planet would kind of like function as it's supposed to. So when you look at the clouds, and if you've been on an aeroplane before, you will see that when you're traveling and you're above the clouds, you will see clouds beneath you. And if you look up, you will see clouds above you. And as you, depending on how far up you're traveling, you're going to see different layers. And you also have the spheres. And the planet is, let's say this is a planet, and you've got spheres around it. Yeah, some only go like that. But this is, I think this is probably the second time this has come up, in a sense where we should probably do a video on it, and I keep saying we're going to. So when you say talk about the firmament, it's actually very broad, but we will do a video on it so that we can go through the details in more, you know what I mean, in a more detailed way. Stens Yobro, Greetings, sir. What are the connections of some Afrocentric spirit guides, guardians, gods amongst various traditions and divination crafts? Like you have many tribes, you have many people that have studied and learnt some of this esoteric knowledge and beings that are in contact. Because when you beckon on these beings that you're calling gods, or the term God can be expressed and used in so many ways by so many different people, but what it is, you are able to get in tune or contact some of these beings that some are agreeable, some are disagreeable, some are actually from the lower realms that will want to gain your trust. And so some of these shamans and people that may have a little knowledge about spiritual things or may be in contact with one of these beings, and the beings will gain their trust by helping them to do things. And people will be like, wow, this person really knows how to do this, tell the future or heal me or do this and that. And once they've gained their trust, then that person or that source starts to feed them, right? Because some of these beings, they subsist of energy or certain types of energy or sacrifices or all kinds of things. It depends on the being. This is why we're saying that you have to be very careful, because there's a trade-off. So we don't deal with any type of spirit guides, or so in the Bible, these people were referred to as sorcerers, or people that, not everyone, obviously there are some people that are positive and they can, like they have the ability to utilize their other powers such as psychometry, intuition, telepathy, and clairvoyance. Some people have the natural gifts, but they then exploit it for money. People like tarot reading, or people that want to tell you your future, your fortune, and they beckon on ghosts and all kinds of things. And it may be all right for a time, but then when the payoff comes, this is where you get people that will do certain things for wealth, but they may even end up unaliving one of their family members, etc., because of greed and wanting certain things. So it all depends on who you're dealing with and what they know, and if they're agreeable or disagreeable. In Wu-Sabat, you will get to know these things without having to go to these people, but it's again a very broad question, because it depends on who we're talking about. And in Africa, because you say Afrocentric, you do have beings that worship and call on these negative entities that want blood and want certain sacrifices, like you have to put hair or some kind of sacrifice. We in Wu-Sabat don't deal with any of that. All right. Why don't we learn to make money and build businesses for our people and help each other? Again, you say, why don't we learn? I don't know who the we is, because we definitely do learn that. And this is why we talk about people coming together, so that it's not just talk, it's also about building and, solving our own problems, rather than just constantly complaining and relying on, other people. Okay, so we do talk about, it's not something we do just publicly, because obviously you don't give away your strategies. But yeah, I think, I'm going to stop there. But yes, that's a really good question to stop on. The Bo Elvis 9044. Yeah, it's about coming together, help each other to build businesses, to be self-sufficient, to help heal the planet, heal the world, and we're all about that. Wu-Sabat covers 360 of everything, physical, and 360 of the spiritual or unseen. So until next time, if you have questions, comment below, and we will address them for you. Yeah, so until next time, Wadu.